So I just watched through Knuckles and I thought it was fine. Nothing good, nothing bad, just kind of okay. If you were on any sort of social media app during the show's release, you would think this is one of the worst pieces of media ever conceived.
I do not believe this was a good show, both in terms of what it could have been and in terms of what it tried to be.
But in reality, it's not that bad. I feel like a lot of Sonic fans are over exaggerating with this show. Like, it's not awful. The franchise has seen worse. But still, even aside from that, I still think the show is just fine. My biggest issue with this show is just the fact that it just feels like the first two Sonic movies, but stretched out into a 6-episode TV series. And I don't think the same style that the Sonic movies had work for a TV show. The first two Sonic movies are essentially popcorn flicks. They're kid Fast and Furious, for lack of better words. I'm fine with them being that. They're fun movies, and even if I would do a Sonic movie differently, they're still pretty fun watches. Now imagine you take the first movie and stretches out to 6 episodes. That's essentially what the Knuckles show is. There are elements I do like about the Knuckles show. For example, I think Wade is pretty well developed for the most part. Wade is actually a pretty decent character. I enjoyed him a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. When I heard that he was going to be the main focus of the show, I got worried because I didn't think he would be able to carry a 6-episode series, but shockingly, he did just fine. He had a lot of pretty fun moments, and I didn't really find him that obnoxious. If anything, I thought his sister Wanda was more annoying than anything. Knuckles, however, in his own show, is kind of sidelined. I actually really liked Knuckles in the second movie, even if he was just Drax. It didn't matter to me because Knuckles felt cool again. Something that was pretty lacking from him for the past decade. So to kind of have him sidelined in his own show just kind of left me disappointed. Like, his whole arc is that he needs to accept that this is his home now. But he just kind of accepts it in the final episode. And that's it. Nothing really happens that convinces Knuckles. He just accepts that he's here now. Great. Again, most of the show is really focused on Wade. And it's not even like a Wade and Knuckles duo movie, more than it is just Wade the series. Again, I really think the series would have benefited from just being a movie. At least like a Paramount Plus movie, like how they do the South Park special. Oh, damn it. This was condensed to like an hour and 30 minutes of Knuckles and Wade. I think we could have had something pretty fun here. And as a result, I feel like the 6-episode structure for this kind of story just didn't really work for me. By the end of it, I kind of got bored and was ready for it all to end. It doesn't help that our two main villains, two gun agents, one of them played by Kid Cudi, are just boring. They appear in the first and second episode, disappears for the next 2 episodes, then reappear in the last 2 episodes. Okay, and then the true villain, the guy who used to work for Eggman, he just kind of has one fight scene with Knuckles, and that's the last we see of him. I also thought a lot of the fight scenes were just kind of lame. That was one about the first 2 Sonic movies, but they had some really exciting set pieces. In this show, there was just one scene that I actually thought was pretty well done, but that's really it. Nothing else really impressed me or made me excited or giddy like the first 2 Sonic movies, if that makes sense. The show, in my opinion, is at its best when it's with Knuckles and Wade. Again, don't get me wrong, I actually really found Wade pretty decent in this show. But again, this is a Knuckles show. Regardless if it was advertised as a Wade show in the advertisement, it doesn't take away the fact that there's not really enough balance between Wade stuff and Knuckles stuff. Knuckles feels underdeveloped in his own show. It kind of feels the same way I do with something like Multiverse of Madness, where Doctor Strange kind of felt sidelined, and I kind of feel the same with Knuckles. There's a lot of things in this show that I just straight up didn't like. like episode 5, which was a pretty fun episode. I liked the little play that they put up to show Knuckles' origin. But I don't like the fact that that's how we figure out about Knuckles' origin, you know? Why isn't this shown with Knuckles? Why do we have to see it through Wade's lens? I don't know, I feel like more of this show should have just been Wade and Knuckles rather than just Wade. By the time we get to episode 5 and 6, Knuckles just kind of exits the story until he's needed once more. I don't know, overall, I don't think the show is as bad as people put it to be. Again, if you went online at all during the show, people hated this show, and I really don't see why. It's not one of the worst shows ever made, like, it's fine. Yes, it is annoying that Knuckles doesn't really get that much screen time in the show, I will say that. But at the end of the day, it's still a kid's show. A kid's show that I think will do just fine entertaining a kid. It has the right amount of goofiness and Saturday morning cartoon energy that I honestly think a kid would probably enjoy this. Basically the first 2 Sonic movies. Again, I think there's way worse Sonic media than this series. I don't know why this series has the label as one of the worst things to come out of the franchise, when this series just kind of feels like the first 2 Sonic movies, but in a TV show. Again, did you forget that these exist? Yep, that's basically my basic thoughts on the Knuckles TV show. I just think it's fine. It exists. It's literally the definition of mid. I am slapping Knuckles with a solid 5 out of 10.
It ain't hard to tell. I break them down whether they solid or frail. Unlike the rest, I'm independent since my first breath.